So our graduate program is one of multiple graduate programs that we've got within Hilton. What sort of characteristics do you think someone needs to sort of excel on a graduate program?
I do think that the first element you need to have is like being eager to learn. I mean, there are many graduate programs available, as you said, and I mean, if you were not successful for one of them, doesn't mean that you don't have any others to apply for. I think there are many transferable skills between them. So just eager to learn, be open. Me myself, when I completed my degree, didn't really know what I wanted to specialize on. So there are lots of options, and just by taking one doesn't mean that you are just on that role forever. But yeah, just be determined, complete the program, and then you can just have a better knowledge of what you want to do in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think you do have to be quite driven and focused, because obviously, as with any fast track program, when you're learning such an immense amount in such a short period of time, you have to kind of be dedicated to actually what you are working towards. So I would say you do have to be goal driven as well, because when you can see exactly where you do want to end up, you have got that motivation in terms of getting there. Because for us, for example, there's a lot of training, and that's with a lot of graduate programs, things that might take others years to learn, you learn in just a matter of months. So you would definitely have to be quite focused, and also your resilience as well, because sometimes it can be a lot, but at the end of the day it's worth it. So it's just having the ability to remember that, I think, as well.
So you mentioned there about sort of having to do a lot within a couple of months rather than taking years that it would be if it was entry level. Do you think that that's quite intense? How does it feel workload wise?
I think for me personally, it definitely was intense, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. So we got told right at the start, personally, for our program, that there would be a lot of training, just in terms of, obviously, you applied for a fast track program, you know that you want to get through it quickly. So with that comes, you need to know a lot of knowledge. But one of the things that we were emphasised on in terms of training was you're not going to remember everything. It's just taking as much as you can. So they do put a lot of emphasis on training when you're doing fast track programs, because obviously they expect you to learn a lot, but a lot of it is taught in actually when you're doing the role itself. But I think in terms of the training, they give you support in training outside of it. So yeah, with your mentors, with your buddies as well.
Okay, so you've got a larger sort of support network there to guide you through the program. Is there, so you mentioned training, the support through training, is there sort of other touch bases that you have, other people to support you?
Yeah, I think that since you join, obviously you're put in a team, then you've got your manager, but other than your manager, there's a lot of people who are actually supporting you. Even the team itself, you will find yourself in a team which, with people who has already gone through the graduate program that you have chosen, for example, so they could have more experience to watch, what you're feeling, what are you doing, the pace you're on. So that really makes sense. And then at the beginning as well, as you said, there's a lot of training involved. There's like a training manager as well, and you kind of start with a group of people as well. I think you mentioned that before, like the learning pace. So everyone learns differently. So, even with the people that you start with, the program can help you out at some point with some skills that you're not really good at. So yeah, there's a lot of support given at the beginning, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think even throughout, obviously being on the fast track program for that whole period of time, they kind of know you're going to need the support. So obviously our program isn't the only one at Hilton Fast Track, so whether it's us trying to become cluster revenue managers or someone training to fast track to become a GM, they tend to give you a buddy, someone who's done it before that you can learn from. So if you have questions, you can always go back to them, because I think with training, for me personally, sometimes I'd be scrolling through my notes and it's really difficult to find things because you are trying to cram all that information in at once, but they do have such a big emphasis on ask the questions that you need, find the people who you need to talk to, and they even give you the contacts and the people that you need to talk to as well. I think that really helps.
You mentioned there about sort of other schemes and the opportunities to train to be GM and the other schemes that we have to do with finance and becoming a finance manager. What sort of career progression do you think the fast track element of the scheme provides overall?
I think just, basically shortening the path, because, we are talking about getting to a position which normally could take somewhere around 3 to 5 years, whether it's on revenue management or, as you said, on finance or whatever other department it is. I think that's the main thing of the fast track. And you also mentioned they just try to condense that in a very short amount of time to get you up to the same level of other colleagues with maybe broadened experience. So, So yeah, that's the fast track element of it, I could say, or rather than an entry level job that could take obviously a bit longer to get to that position.
Yeah, I think definitely once you've, obviously from what you said, where they shorten the actual process, it's also once you complete that as well, you've still got the same opportunity as everyone else, whether they came from a different background as you. So the fast track program really does help in terms of just being able to get to where you need to go. But shortening the time, it doesn't really limit you. It gives you a lot more opportunities.
So when it comes to a fast track program, people sort of assume that you have to have all the answers in advance, but you don't, do you?
No, I mean, well, the last thing you've got, it's everything clear, all your ideas clear when you finish your degree, right? So yeah, when I first started, for example, I didn't know much about it, so I did my research obviously before applying for it. But yeah, that's something that you find out as you do it, and then you find out. I don't know. For me, I was a bit hesitant because when we first started, I was thinking that lots of people who was doing the same program would have maybe more experience than I did or more knowledge, but at some point you kind of realize that that's not the case. Hospitality is quite a broad field, and there's many people with different backgrounds in here, and I think that the programs are very well structured to the point that even though I might have some experience in hospitality, whereas someone who joins doesn't, I think that at some point throughout the program it kind of break even and you are both at the same level. So I think that's kind of the main aim of the graduate program, to get you all to the same level and kind of finish it at the same level.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, no one actually has all the answers. So even sometimes with me, with my buddy, she's been here longer than me, and sometimes I ask her a question and she won't even know the answer. So for me, the type of person I was, one of the things I was told in training is that I wasn't asking enough questions. My training manager noticed I'd always write my questions down and never ask them, because I think I was kind of stuck in my university mentality of go find the answer yourself. And they have such a big emphasis on you can ask the questions. They do want you to ask the questions because it helps them learn, it helps you learn, and the whole point of the fast track is that you're getting that information. You can't do that without actually asking the questions.
So yeah, I relate to that a lot because I'm the same way. I'm always sort of worried about the questions that I asked in case they were like assumed that I should have known it beforehand. But then definitely with the way that the training's sort of set up, you can even request for specific topics to be covered. I know, or training sessions that you like that have felt that you could open up more or ask the right sort of questions. You can say, okay, let's do that again on this topic, and they frame the scheme around what the way that you want to learn as well, and adapt it depending on the group of people that they have, which is really good.
Exactly. I think anyone joining a fast track would have to be someone who is willing to ask the questions. And also one thing that I got told is you have to also be willing to get things wrong sometimes, which is sometimes they'd ask a question in terms of, do you remember this? And I'd not answer the question in fear of getting things wrong. But it's also, I think, with everyone, when you get something wrong, you typically don't get it wrong a second time.
Yeah, that's 100% true. It's what always sticks in your brain, right? It's what not to do and how to adapt to it. And yeah, hotels as well are used to that. They do it on their side, and we're there to support them. But it's all a learning process for everyone, and everyone's trying to get the best results possible across Hilton. So no, it's really good. So going back to sort of the future steps that can be taken after a graduate program, I know that we're working towards at the moment cluster revenue manager sort of experience, and I've been doing that for the last couple of years, and also seeing quite a lot of people within RMCC move to different areas across Hilton. So it really just opened the door on that side of things into other roles. I'm just seeing people go into marketing who don't have the marketing experience beforehand, but from what they've learned through revenue management side of things, you gain the skills that you need within hospitality to apply them across other departments. I've seen people from finance come into revenue management because they've got similar experiences there. And there's also opportunities to go back onto property. I know, Guillermo, you mentioned earlier about potentially the future options going back onto property.
Yeah.
And having the fast track career will give you a different side of it that then you can come back on and apply it your skills in a completely different way. And I know a lot of people choose to go sort of the commercial director route, manager route, all of those doors that might not have been open for them if you haven't gone in through potentially a fast track scheme. And you, as we said, we learn to work under pressure in an intense environment, which you need in those future roles as well. So definitely there's career opportunities within the graduate scheme that you have, whether you proceed to sort of senior cluster revenue manager and into the higher end of RMCC, but there's also many opportunities outside of our own department.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone who's sort of considering to join a fast track program, what sort of advice would you give them?
I would say just to kind of be open, because sometimes you're very interested on one specific graduate program, but as we mentioned before, there are lots of them available. So even if you are not accepted or not successful on the one that you originally wanted, there are many actually options out there that you might find interesting if you take the chance and do it. So even if you're not successful on the one that you originally wanted, I would say that just keep trying, because there are many other options out there, and you might find that maybe something you didn't know anything about, you find out that you're actually passionate about and can build a career on it. So yeah, and we are very we are focusing a lot on the transferable skills from one to another, and that there are the possibility to move around other roles. So I think it's always a good opportunity to complete one of these graduate programs, unless in the end you don't really want to keep focusing on that career path. There are always other doors open for the future. So yeah,
definitely. I think the one thing I would say is to just apply. I think a lot of the times people get in their own way and thinking they don't have enough experience to apply, or I can't do this. I think the main thing is just apply, because whether it's, obviously for us it was I want to become a revenue manager, but for some people it could be I want to become an engineer or a general manager. Just apply. It doesn't matter your experience, as long as you can show your passion during the interview process and things like that, and you can put your best foot forward. It's definitely worth it, because the worst thing is they say no. The best thing is you have an experience that kind of sets you up for life.
So, yeah, I'd say similar. It's about taking risks, right? And you're never going to grow unless you challenge yourself. And a fast track program is the perfect opportunity to do that with an experience you're not going to get if you take an entry level position. And the people that you meet as well will be the ones that are challenging you, and you learn so much in a short space of time. And then, future opportunities become endless. So when you sort of look back at your time across Hilton and the progression that you've made, how does that sort of make you feel when you talk to like family and friends about your time on the graduate program?
Well, when I first got accepted, I got really excited. And at this point of the program, I think that I really feel proud of myself. All the heart and the effort that I've put on this, because it's a bit challenging at times. But as you see that it's coming to an end, I could say that I feel proud to being able to come to an end and have put the effort on it. So really good feeling about it. I mean, really, really positive. I don't know how it's been for you, but
I'd say the same. Definitely proud and kind of amazed as where you started from to now, even within the first few weeks. And they did tell us, when you look back, you'll think like, wow. And really, when you look back, I think there are things that I'm dealing with now that I had no clue about, and I look now and starting to obviously manage your own portfolio. It's just kind of amazed where you are and the company you're working for, especially being quite young. So sometimes I'm talking to my friends and they're in their entry-level positions, because I think out of all of my friends, I'm the only one who went for a fast-track role. So I'm sitting there talking to them. I do just feel really proud and happy in terms of where I am and the job that I'm in as well.
Yeah, I think that it only grows over time, especially the more experiences you have and the longer within Hilton, the more challenges you have. Even talking to friends and family who don't necessarily know the details of the role, they can see sort of where you were from when you started versus what you've achieved now, and it's hugely rewarding, and definitely not something that at least I could have had without the fast track program to get there. And Toby, great point about sort of age and what you can achieve at a sort of younger age, and then let's see in 10 years time and where we're all at, but no, huge achievements all round. And how does it feel to be a part of such a famous brand such as Hilton?
Honestly, that's probably one of the favourite parts of my job. When I called my mum and told her I got the job, I think she screamed more than I did. It's just really prideful. So I think the culture at Hilton has been amazing since I started. All the experiences, even just putting on my LinkedIn that I work at Hilton, it just makes you feel happy working for the best company.
Yeah, absolutely. I do really agree with you. I mean, yeah, you just feel proud of it, and yeah, when you tell people, everyone knows Hilton, right? So it's a very international brand. So yeah, you kind of feel proud to tell people that you work at Hilton. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the first question is, okay, which hotels can I stay at? Where have you been? Where have you travelled? What experiences have you had in your life because of the job? Like, what's it allowed you to do? And huge amount with Hilton that's possible.